Hello and welcome to another episode of Closme Commentary. Today we really just go into the Premier League, a bit of Serie A, a bit of the Championship, and look into the frantic end of the season. A bit of controversy. Manchester City's appeal came through. Did they win? Of course they did. No one's surprised at all. But that's all a sideshow, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. It's been an interesting week, Cos. I don't know if you've had the chance now to keep tabs on the results now, obviously, in the Premier League. More importantly, the table, especially near the top and near the bottom. They've all been pretty crazy results, especially with some of those sides playing each other. We had an interesting week though, especially with the what is it called? We were just talking about it. Manchester United missed a golden opportunity to go into the top four, into third.
Well, they did, but and their goals that they gave them to Southampton, didn't they? I mean, two mistakes, which led to Southampton's goals. But Southampton have been in good form as well, so.
Oh yeah, they've been in great form.
You can't take anything away from Southampton, but it is a slip up for Man United. But they're on the trajectory is good. They're going in the right direction.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Manchester United were arguably the informed team after the break. They won. Was it 4 consecutive games 3-0? No team's ever done that in the Premier League, I don't think.
Well, no, they've been in fantastic form, and it's just about now how they respond after this draw. But the way they're going, I reckon they're finishing in the top 4. There's no doubt about it. Yeah,
well, you'd put them down as the favourites, especially if you see the run in.
I'm not even looking at the run. I'm just looking at how they're playing compared to how Chelsea and how Leicester especially are playing right now.
Well, you put them together. Currently, obviously, they're just outside. I think they're out on goal difference. They're 4 goals behind. So they're only 3 goals behind in goal difference anyway. So they could even catch up in that regard, the way they're playing. And so Leicester could technically win all their games and still drop out of the top 4.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
But I don't think Leicester will win all their games because they have, Sheffield, I think Arsenal, and then Manchester United at the end. So,
it doesn't matter who they've got right now. I mean, Leicester's form has been absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, well, they
are vulnerable against anyone right now.
Well, I wouldn't say. I was going to say relegation form. I think that's a bit harsh, but.
The results suggest
the results haven't been great though. They've been quite poor. They definitely haven't been top 4 level since the return. They drew with Brighton 0-0. They lost to Everton. They beat Palace 3-0.
Yeah, that was their only good result.
Oh, they drew against Arsenal away as well, which was after Arsenal had won in 3 games. So, good on them. And then they got pulverized. Although you'd be forgiven for thinking that, it was just a demolishing because they, 4-1 looks terrible. You think, what the heck happened? But I mean, you just saw the highlights for this one.
I did, and it was just an amazing game. You couldn't write this. No one could write this script.
They actually took the lead fairly early through Jamie Vardy, and I think they were quite comfortable for most of the game.
Yeah, there was a 1-0 lead.
And then take it away from here.
Well, there was nothing really happening. They're 1-0. They look comfortable. I mean, 1-0 is never a safe lead, but.
Well, I'll just before actually, just on top of the fact that they were so on top, I just want to add this. Goal attempts after the first half. 10 to Leicester, 1 to Bournemouth, 3 on target for Leicester, 1 to Bournemouth. And possession 65%. Just Yeah, all over him, and take it away.
Going into the second half, so including it's considering those stats, it was just a matter of time before Leicester got their second goal. Right? I mean, this was looking like a formality, but then the ever reliable Kasper Schmeichel decided to do one of the worst goal kicks I've ever seen, going straight into a Bournemouth.
Was it a goal kick or was it a throw?
No. Well, it could have been a throw. I mean, let's be real here. No,
it was just terrible distribution. I think it was actually the ball's on it was live play, and he just passed it along the ground straight to the opposition, something like that.
It looked like a goal kick to me, but I was watching on 2 times speed. So you get a bit of these dodgy results, but no, like it was terrible. Whatever it was terrible, and Bournemouth score from that. They get the penalty, and then a minute later they score another one to make it 2-1, and then the funniest thing...
And that goal went through Schmeichel's legs too, and it was another bad pass, I think, or was that the third goal? I can't remember. There were plenty of just terrible decisions made by Leicester's defence.
No, that was another bad pass on the second goal, but for some reason, I don't know what happened after the Bournemouth second goal. Joshua King, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, decided to get the ball.
They've just taken the lead.
Why are you getting the ball when you've taken the lead? I mean, that's just doesn't make any sense. And he didn't want to just get the ball. He wanted it so badly that he pushed Soyuncu through the net, and he took it personally and decided to retaliate. Then he gets the red card.
Well, he kicked him, so I mean, it was sort of one of those things that you give a red for, but...
I mean, is this what happens when you're down the bottom of the ladder? You start thinking a bit weird. Then why would you go and get the ball and you want it that badly that you're going to push a guy into the net?
I have a theory. I have a theory.
What is it? What's the theory?
Okay, so I'm just going to try and find some stats to back me up, and they probably won't back me up, actually. But, all right. Okay, so... okay. They were at home, weren't they? Well, my theory is that Bournemouth have been shipping goals so much that in his head he's thinking, oh no, 2 goals, it's not enough, we need more. We need more to guarantee this result. In fact, Bournemouth are the first team in Premier League history to have conceded 60 goals in 5 consecutive seasons. That's another record for you. I think part of that is down to the fact that they've survived as well. So, like most of the teams that concede that many goals don't live that many seasons straight because they just don't make it. But
that's actually a very good point you make. I mean, to concede 60 goals and survive. That's pretty significant, I suppose.
But the stats don't back me up because Bournemouth lost only 1-0 against Wolves. They got smashed by Newcastle, but and by Manchester United, but they also drew 0-0 with Tottenham. So it was well within their ability to hold out the 2-1 lead. But crazy things happen. It's a crazy result, and it just resulted in just craziness at the top and the bottom. I mean, West Ham and Watford played before these guys. West Ham demolished Norwich and officially relegated them. So Norwich is going to be in the Championship next season.
They're welcome back with open arms in the Championship.
Yeah. Actually, the EFL Championship released a cheeky tweet. They retweeted the original message from Norwich when they secured promotion from last season, and they wrote something along the lines of welcome back or something back to the Championship. So you're all ours or something like that.
Well, they're an esteemed member of the Championship.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you're one of us. Don't
think you're up there. You belong down here. I mean,
Yeah. Watford also, they were playing Newcastle, and Newcastle took the lead against them early in that game, and Watford came back to win 2-1, and I think that's
from
the
2
first
penalties
time
as well
this entire season that Watford has come from behind to win a game.
Well, they got 2 penalties as well.
Yeah,
so.
well, they got 2 penalties, but they ramped up the pressure on Newcastle, and it's obviously paid off. And at that stage, it looked like game over, Red Rover, because Bournemouth's playing Leicester, and Villa's playing Crystal Palace. That's that's like okay. You can give them a bit of thing there, but Bournemouth looked down and out, and then of course that happened. Well, Leicester was cruising, and then they lost 4-1, and Aston Villa was actually behind early on, but the goal was overturned. When I was just watching the scores for this one, and it got to half time and it was 1-0, and I was like, oh yeah, because I saw before that Crystal Palace had taken the lead, so obviously Crystal Palace still held on to the lead, and I was thinking, well, that's it for Villa. They're gone, because if they can't beat Crystal Palace, they're going to be too far behind now, because that was at that stage was 7 points, so it's a big chasm to overcome. And then it turned out that that goal was overturned, and Aston Villa actually scored their own goal. And then they scored another to win it 2-0. So two, I guess, gritty wins by the teams in the relegation zone.
I mean, but look, at the end of the day, there's 3 matches left, and Aston Villa is 4 points from safety, and Bournemouth are 3 points. So despite that they won, they've still got a bit of work to do if they want to get out of this. Yeah,
well, the thing is, with Bournemouth, I don't know if you've seen their fixture list.
Oh, no, I haven't.
Oh, well, they've got... Okay, it's not as bad as I originally thought, but the first one up this weekend is Manchester City, so...
It's pretty bad.
Good luck there. Then they play Southampton, so...
In form.
Possibly. It's a derby, though, so it could just sort of like cause a few issues.
That's true.
And the last game is against Everton, who have been a bit sketchy of late. So... originally, I thought, okay, that's difficult, but looking at it now, it's not that bad. Watford, though, big trouble. They might not get a single point now. Well, they've got West Ham, so they've got a chance here to get some points. But then they play Manchester City and Arsenal on the last day. So I know Arsenal's always a chance. Always a chance.
Arsenal are very afraid of Watford. I remember that time they went there and they were very afraid.
I think they're afraid of Troy Deeney more than Watford.
Yeah.
Just gives them nightmares. And where were the other ones that are sort of hovering in that area? Aston Villa has a tough run in as well. They got Everton, Arsenal, and they finish up against West Ham. So they're quite similar to. They're sort of a mix of the other two, actually. A lot of those teams are sort of playing each other, aren't they? You got West Ham playing a couple from the bottom, Everton playing a couple, Arsenal, Manchester City. So
the thing is, Klaus, though, these teams that they're playing, like you've got your Evertons, your Arsenals, West Ham's, on the last day. By that point, they've probably got nothing to play for, and Arsenal and Everton probably have nothing to play for at the moment either. So it's kind of like...
That's true too.
There is that aspect to it as well. So we don't know what sort of results are going to churn out.
Plenty on offer there. I guess... Well, Arsenal are still pushing for Europa spots. I mean, 7th place is what it'll take. But having lost against Tottenham, that really put a spanner in the works. Tottenham are now 2 points behind Sheffield, who... demolished Chelsea, by the way. That was the other interesting result.
Yeah, look, I've got to just hand it to Sheffield. We thought they were just reverting back to where they should be.
Who's reverting back? Sheffield or?
Well, Sheffield. Yeah, after the break and their form that they started with, we thought that they were just going to revert back to where we all thought they would have been. But my God,
and not to mention the opposition they had to face since then. So they obviously they also Manchester United. But then they came back with the 3-1 win against Tottenham. They drew with Burnley. They beat Wolves, and now they've smashed Chelsea. So it's just been result after result.
I'm not surprised these days of Sheffield keeping a clean sheet. I mean, that's, part and parcel of Sheffield. But 3-0.
Yeah.
3-0? The 3 goals. I mean, that's... Yeah. Where did that come from?
Have you seen the goals?
No, I haven't seen the goals.
It's sort of a typical Sheffield just coming in and hitting the ball enough times at the goals that it deflects to one of their players, and then they just put like infinite pressure on Chelsea and just score. Yeah, just score basically that like that. they sort of just push until the ball lands in front of a player who's near the goals, and then they score as well. And it was just it was mayhem that game. But Sheffield obviously just I don't know what it is. It's just this resilience, and it's so unconventional.
I'm telling you now, I would not put it past Sheffield to finish 7th because they're running. Again, they got Leicester away, they got Everton at home, and Southampton away. I mean,
they're all tough teams.
They're tough, but I mean, Leicester's not in form. Everton, they can beat Everton.
No, Leicester's definitely there for the taking at the moment. Their confidence is
absolutely
shot.
Everton at home, they can beat Everton. Southampton's in form; they can get a draw there. They don't concede much, so they're in a chance. They're within a chance within every game. So, I would not be surprised at all if they finish 7th, which would be absolutely remarkable.
Just a quick look at the stats for that game. Chelsea had 15 attempts to 9, but they were equal with shots on target. 76% possession, though. Jesus, that is...
That Chelsea had?
Yes. Oh, well, Sheffield's not going to have 76% possession.
Yeah, that's true.
Chelsea, I think, are the second best possession side in the league this season, behind obviously Manchester City. So that was never going to go Sheffield's way. But that just shows playing style, can obviously... There's more than one way to win a game.
Oh, absolutely. That's like we've said in earlier podcasts. You got to design the best system to suit the team, and the Sheffield manager, whoever he is, has clearly done that. So,
well, I'm liking this hot and cold from Chelsea because they're obviously they beat Manchester City, then they lost the next game to West Ham, then they beat Watford 3-0, drew 2-3 with they beat Crystal Palace 3-2. But that said, they're the only team that's conceded to Crystal Palace since the restart. So, yeah, that's not a record you necessarily want to have. Crystal Palace, by the way, I didn't realize how terrible this was. Actually, they might have done something in the first game back, but since the first game back, which I think they did actually win 1-0 or something like that. But then they lost to Liverpool 4-0. They lost to Burnley 1-0. They lost to Leicester 3-0. Chelsea, as we just said, 3-2. And they lost to Aston Villa 2-0. So,
I'll ask you a question, Mike. Right? I'll ask you a question. How many points do Leicester have at the moment?
Leicester.
Sorry, Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace. They have 42 points.
Right.
So they're...
So after this is what happened. I'll tell you what happened. After the break, they came back. They played Bournemouth away from home. They won 2-0. They got past 40 points. Since then, they're finished. Right? They're done. We've got our 40 boys. Let's just party it up. Forget about it. We've done our season. That's it.
Well, they almost got the points against Chelsea, but
yeah, they did. But
that was definitely not a good performance by Chelsea to get into that situation.
Well, I think that's just what. Look. Obviously, that's not true, but it's just a funny. It's a funny observation.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was some truth to it.
There's probably an element of truth to it. Not that they actually got together and said we're done, but yeah.
Actually, another thing with Crystal Palace is that they in the Liverpool game they lost Zaha, and I think Benteke was injured as well. Two of sort of their key outlets, and they didn't. I think they came back in the Chelsea game. So those 3 games where they didn't score any goals, those 2 players I think were out or missing vast periods of it. They came back in that game, did the damage against Chelsea, but then obviously they couldn't quite do the job against Aston Villa. So it might not be as bad as it looks. Benteke got a red card in that game as well. I should probably add the most recent game. So he's not at the very end of the game. So it didn't actually affect the game, but he's not going to be back against Manchester United, who, look, Palace, bad time to play Manchester United. It's not going to end well.
Well, no,
team that's in that kind of form and have just come off a draw in a 96th minute. They're going to be up for it. So good luck with that.
No, absolutely.
Well, Norwich is obviously gone though.
Norwich is gone. The other two, well, they're an outside chance, but that's what they are at the moment. They're just an outside chance of staying. I mean, 3 points. I know it's only 3 points, but
Are we talking about Aston Villa and Bournemouth now, or we?
yep.
Yeah. Well, that's just it. Except Aston Villa is actually 4 points off.
Well, yeah,
so
that's right. It's harder for them, but what I was also going to say, it's not as if West Ham, Watford, and even Brighton are going to start, not playing with any sort of intensity. They're going to be wanting to win their games as well.
Yeah, exactly. And Southampton's playing Brighton, so I think Southampton's finishing their season against all the relegation candidates.
Yeah, that's right as well. So, look, it's going to be pretty hard for Bournemouth now and Aston Villa, but we'll see what happens.
One thing of note that Liverpool failed to beat Burnley, which put a dent in their chances of getting over 100 points this season. They need to now win. To get over 100, they need to win the rest of their games, which...
Yeah, what happened in that game, Mike? Andy Robertson was very unhappy after the game.
Yeah, well, he scored a brilliant goal.
Yeah, he did. He did score. No, I saw the goal. It was absolutely fantastic.
It was just. I mean, I guess it's down to the technique. So not everyone would necessarily appreciate how good it was, but it was just a headed goal back over the keeper. He had perfect control over the header. That's just because a lot of people don't seem to realize how difficult it is to control a header, and he just nested that one perfectly. Basically lobbed the keeper from the far post with a nice cross from Fabinho, and then they Burnley battered them, and then they conceded a goal at some stage, and it ended up 1-1. So, and Burnley could have won it near the end, although there was a bit of
Burnley's another team that's in good form, but just a solid team. And
Burnley haven't lost since the return, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of doing... Actually, no, they're not doing a Sheffield at all, but they are the mid-table champions at the moment, so,
Well, Burnley, interestingly, have... I haven't got the first game here, but at least since the second game, they've not scored more than a goal, but they've also not conceded more than a goal, and they've scored a goal in every game. So...
No, good form. Good form. They're in good form.
Yeah, they beat Watford 1-0, Palace 1-0, Sheffield 1-1, West Ham 1-0, and obviously just now against Liverpool. Only the 5th team to take points off Liverpool and the first team to take points off Liverpool at Anfield, although post-COVID is a bit hard to say. But I feel like Liverpool were playing as if they were at home, so that was quite an effort from Burnley. They're the first team to have done that. So hats off to them.
Congrats to Burnley. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, especially against Liverpool at Anfield. So
especially this season.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and they're even on points with Arsenal. So, yeah, shove that in your pipe and smoke it. They were getting really chirpy, Arsenal, after their start. I think they won their first 4 games, and they scored, what is it, 8 unanswered goals before drawing to Leicester, and then obviously losing this game against Tottenham, and now they play Liverpool. So it'll be a test. It'll be an interesting test. I think Arsenal will be up for this game, unfortunately for Liverpool, but I think their confidence might have taken a bit of a hit though in the last couple of results going their way. So,
I'm not sure about that. They've still got a new manager. They're still working through things. I don't think so. But no, Arsenal will definitely be up for the game because they will want to try to make a European spot.
Yeah, true.
While
it's still an option, I think if they lose this game, it's going to be tough for them. Tottenham play Newcastle. Obviously, Sheffield play Leicester.
The question is really how much do Liverpool want the points record? That's the question.
They want it. They want it. The thing is, though,
how badly do they want it? That's the question.
I mean, like you can see in the way that they're playing that they're quite motivated to continue winning. I guess the issue is that they don't quite have that momentum and chemistry that they did before the break, and so they're essentially slightly worse than they were. so their top ability I don't think is quite as high as it was before. Mainly to do with the defense. I think the defense is just a bit. Actually, no, the front line as well. They're not putting away their chances, which they had a lot of against Burnley. They just couldn't finish. Also, Burnley's keeper Pope just did an amazing job. He just kept out some rippers.
He did actually. Yeah, he had a great game. He did.
Yeah. I didn't actually get the chance to watch the second half. I watched the first half and then went to sleep because it was, I think, a 2 a.m. game or something like that. So, I know it was a midnight game. So, went to sleep around 1.
Yeah, that's what we do in Australia. If you're listening in England, that's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we have to do to watch games here. And yeah, I'm trying to be a responsible person, so I went to sleep at a reasonable time. I thought, okay, they're dominating. Hopefully they pull through. Check the result in the morning and just that was a bad day for me. That was a very bad day. Just not a great way to start the morning when you see that. It reminded me of the time when the Netherlands were playing Russia in the Euros, and they were just killing it. They beat Italy, they beat France by a lot. Then they cruised past Ukraine or Sweden, I can't remember who it was. And then they played against Russia, and I thought, oh yeah, they got this. And then they lost 3-1, and it was just, okay, I'm done. I don't believe in you anymore. You will never, just the Netherlands, go away.
Just remind yourself, Mike, you have won the league. Just so you know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I am not taking that for granted. That is, it's more, I guess, I had a lot of other things piling on my mood, and that was just sort of like the cherry on top. That was just like I was already so certain from the night before. Not certain, because I know that a 1-0 lead is feeble, but I just thought, all right, they'll get the job done, and they'll, and I sort of took that result for granted, just because I thought, okay, they're actually playing well now, because they sort of struggled in the previous 2 games, the games against Brighton, the game against Villa, obviously against Manchester City, they were awful, and they weren't even that awful in that game, but they were just awful in the wrong moments, and in this game they just weren't showing that. They were just all over Burnley, and I thought, okay, it's going to happen, but obviously they just let it slip at the end, and now they're on 93 points with 3 games to go, which is insane. So very, very happy with how they've done so far. If they can get to that 100 points, though, I would just be over the moon. It'd be fantastic.
Absolutely. But
I think that more or less wraps up the Premier League, and that was a sudden sort of, we sort of went straight into that and didn't really look back. There were a couple of things that happened though, and off the top of my head, right? So I don't want to get into that one actually, because the timing's off. But Manchester City had they were banned from the next 2 years of European football.
Yes, and their ban got overturned.
UEFA, and they had an appeal, and the appeal results came back yesterday, I think, our time, and they were overturned, much to nobody's surprise. But I think a lot of people don't actually understand how the process is. People saying, oh yeah, Manchester City paid UEFA, blah, blah, blah. No, UEFA was pretty keen to kick them out, but essentially the body that overturned the decision is independent of UEFA. So it's like I guess a watchdog to make sure that these things are done correctly in Europe. And I don't know if you actually know about the background on this, Cos. Do you know anything beyond the fact that Manchester City got off the hook?
I have not looked into this. I just know they were banned. Now the ban's overturned, and they're playing Champions League.
Well,
doesn't really matter to me.
Obviously, that also means that the top 4 is now the top 4. It's not.
Well, that's correct.
Getting 5th won't get you Champions League next season.
Yep. So boo-hoo. Just
yeah, and I think that's more of mostly a threat to possibly Chelsea. It's hard to say who is going to occupy that 5th spot. assuming Manchester United does just power through, you'd think Leicester would be the one to drop out.
Well, on current form, yes, but
and also just because they're playing Manchester United on the last day, so.
Well, that's true as well, yeah. But form can change pretty quickly, so.
Yeah, it can.
But on current form, you'd have to say Leicester, but with that sort of.
But I mean, Chelsea's got a tough fixture. Chelsea have to play Liverpool, so that's the other thing. They do have the 1 point advantage, and Leicester have the best goal difference of those teams. Chelsea has the worst goal difference of those teams. That's the other thing. So there's that playing for and against all those teams. But with the actual decision itself, with the Manchester City, right? The UEFA wanted to, obviously enforce the ban, but Manchester City, I think, got off on essentially what is it called? Sort of a statute of limitations or something like that. A rule that UEFA put in themselves that a club can't be held for things that happened more than 5 years ago, and the bulk of the evidence they had against Manchester City were from things that happened, I think, over 5 years ago, like 2014 or something like that. So they basically couldn't use that against them based on their own rules. So they're kind of stuffed up there. But also, on top of that, or was there nothing else on top of that? I swear there was something else to go with that. But, that's right. There were sort of two things put against them. One was that they weren't cooperating with UEFA, and the other one was that they essentially pretended that certain money was from sponsors when it was actually from the owners. I don't know, because you know how financial fair play, it's all about making sure that clubs spend within their means, but also what it's, I guess, I don't know if it's retrospective or it's just developed this way, but it's become a way to stop owners from just buying a league, basically, and putting so much money into the club that they essentially just they have more money than all the other teams purely because they've got a rich owner, and the owner is just buying them all these Christmas gifts left, right, and center. Aguero, Messi, whoever the hell else they want to have. And Manchester City seem to have done some dodgy things, but that was like over 5 years ago, essentially. Since then, I think they've been okay. So I guess, I don't know, they're righting the ship or whatever it is. They already had a huge advantage, obviously, but they because they got all their players in that title-winning team basically just before FFP came in. So they dodged a bit of a bullet there. But since then, I think they've been just about borderline, okay with their books. But anyway, Manchester City is going to be in the Champions League next season, and that might give them a boost. Might give them the boost they need to actually win it this season. So
yeah, that's very true. But the Champions League is different this season, obviously, with the COVID and the one-legged quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals. So,
which will be very interesting.
Yeah, it gives Atalanta a decent chance.
Yeah, Atalanta, who are freaking flying at the moment.
Oh no, they're the best. They're the best. Should we just go into Italy for a second?
Yeah. Let's just duck into Italy because I think the league's basically sewn up, which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Juventus are most likely going to go on and win it, but Atalanta.
Well, Juventus just played Atalanta. I think that's what you wanted to.
Yeah, they did just play Atalanta, and they drew the game with 2 penalties. Now the penalties, they were legit. They were the correct calls on both occasions. They were both handballs in the box, but. If you actually watch that game, Atalanta were the better side. They're the best team in Italy right now. They did not deserve to draw that game.
Well, they won like 5 straight or something like that.
Yeah, they'd won 5 straight. They'd won actually 10 straight.
Oh, there you go.
Before and after the break, including in all competitions. So,
oh jeez,
they've just been.
Well, they also had 3 clean sheets, in the 3 games leading up to this game.
That's right, and they're not
one of
known.
those
They're not known
against
for
Napoli.
their solid defence. They've been more of a very high attacking team, but the clean sheets are a good sign that they're actually shoring things up at the back. So
Yeah, they've picked up there in the back, and I'm just looking at the defensive records of the Italian teams. There's not that much difference in the top 7 teams, even top 9. They actually just, looking all the way down to Fiorentina in 13th. In fact, Udinese as well. The main difference between all these teams is how many goals they've scored. But you go down to Udinese, who are 15th. They've conceded 46 goals. Fiorentina in 13th, 44. Parma, 44. Cagliari, 46. It's 11th. And then AC Milan, 41. Napoli, 43. Roma, 43. Atalanta, 41. And then the top 3 have conceded 32, 34, 35. So there really isn't that much difference between top spot and, I guess, 15th. After 15th, it gets terrible. 60, 60, 71, 64, 58. So big drop there. But yeah, defensively, that's massive. But then the thing about Atalanta though is 87. I mean,
they've scored 87 goals. The next best is 68.
and that's not Juventus.
It's not
Lazio
Juventus.
and Inter
Juventus
Milan.
have 67 goals. So this is they're the best team in Italy right now. They just had a slower start to the season because of the Champions League, and they had to sort of juggle 2 fixtures a week, which they're not used to doing. But if they didn't have that slow start to the season, they'd probably win the league, which is absolutely crazy.
Just on points, they're 4th now. They're 13 clear of Roma, so that's sewn up. Like the Champions League spots have been sewn up, and they're only 1 point behind Lazio and Inter. And I don't know what their head-to-head is, and I don't know if it'll make a difference.
Well, I'm not sure of the head-to-head, but Lazio's form has been terrible since
Well, they've lost their last 3.
Yeah, so I would expect Atalanta to overtake Lazio, and Inter has been patchy as well. I reckon they're going to finish runners-up.
Yeah, they probably will. I think that's a fair call. Lazio have lost their last 3 games to AC Milan, Lecce, who are in the relegation zone, and Sassuolo, who... Well, Sassuolo's okay, but Lazio has just not been getting the rub of the green. But AC Milan, resurgent form, I have to say. They've been...
Yeah, they have. They have been resurgent.
Since the restart, they haven't lost.
They haven't lost. I'm getting a little bit... I don't know whether to feel excited or upset because, it's good on the one hand, it's good to have Milan back and sort of showing that they're good again. But on the other, it's like, well, they are rivals of, Juventus, so... I don't know what to feel, but I am happy that they're starting to play good, definitely.
They could realistically finish 5th, and Roma, they lost their 3. I think their first 3 games after the restart. They lost to Milan, one of them, Udinese, and Napoli, and then they realised that AC Milan's actually catching up to them, so they started winning games again. And they beat Parma and Brescia, which isn't really saying much, but
that's right,
getting the job done. But yeah, Milan, but they haven't been playing hard. I'm sorry, they haven't been playing easy teams. They beat Roma, so 2-0. Spal wasn't a great result. Then they beat Lazio 3-0.
Yeah,
but the big one, Juventus, right? Not only did they beat them, but Juventus was up 2-0. And then Milan did some sort of reverse Istanbul and scored 3 goals in 5 minutes to take the lead against Juventus. It was just insane. I think it was inspired by Ibrahimovic.
Yeah, Ibrahimovic after the game, in one of the interviews, he said, if I was here from the start of the season, we would have won the league. And the funny thing is that might even be true. It might be true. You just don't know. He's that good, but... No, it's
they ground out a result as well against Napoli. They were getting battered from all sides. 14 shots to 4. Napoli were all over him, but they took the lead. Then they fell behind, and then they came back and held on to a draw. So
that's right. And plus, if you look at it, Napoli's form hasn't been that bad after the COVID break. They've actually been pretty good. So.
Yeah, well, their only loss came against Atalanta, so
Yeah, exactly. That's saying a lot. So
that's a strong team.
to
So.
go to Napoli, to the south of the country and get a draw from there, that's a good result. So
Yeah.
no, Milan fans should be pretty happy right now.
Well, they're right behind Napoli too. So if they'd won that game, they would have actually
They would have
hopscotched
overtaken
them.
100%. And they've got a decent finish to the season, AC Milan. They've got Parma and Bologna at home. They've got Sassuolo away. Atalanta at home, which is tough, obviously. But then Sampdoria and Cagliari. So really, they should be looking for that Europa League spot.
Well, based on how they went against Spal, that's probably worse for them. They're the only team not to have beaten Spal since the restart.
Yeah, look, that was a bad result. But it seems to be an aberration, considering. But, we'll see how they go. But, yeah, good signs from Milan. Good signs.
Yeah, definitely. And so Milan could be back in Europe next. Hopefully they won't pass down the opportunity to play in the Europa League like they did this season. Who knows how that's going to play
They've got to
out.
be in Europe in some sort of capacity. I mean, they can't. They're too big of a club not to be in Europe.
Yeah, but you know how they opted to just not play in Europe to sort out their finances this season.
Well, they did do that, yeah.
Because they were going to get done by FFP anyway, so which opened the door for I can't remember who played in their place.
Actually, I'm not sure if that was this season or the previous season now.
Who knows? But all I know is that AC Milan is not. No, I think it was this season because this season's just been very long. But anyway, I think that more or less sums up Italy. That's. I find all that very interesting, and the main thing to be interested is that Juventus and Atalanta are the two teams that are in Europe still in the Champions League.
Yeah, representing Italy.
Obviously, Inter Milan is in Europa League as well, and I think Roma, did they get knocked out already? Or?
No, Roma's in the Europa League, but they're about to get knocked out, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Sevilla will finish them off.
Who knows how that's going to pan out. But yeah, Atalanta, a serious threat to cause some havoc in the later stages of the Champions League. That's going to be very interesting. And they're going to finish.
Nobody's going to take them seriously, Mike. No one will take them seriously until they're probably 2 goals down. Because that's what Atalanta...
and by that stage, it's a bit too late. So.
Yeah, it is. It's a legitimate call, though, that I'm making, because Atalanta can do that to you very quickly. So if they're not taken seriously, which can be likely, that can put teams away. It's dangerous. They could win it with the one leg results. They could win it. I'm telling you.
There's still a bit of time before we get there, so their form could drop off completely. But I'll be very excited to see if something good comes out of that. Moving on, we'll just look to the other side of the Premier League, underneath the water, so to speak. The Championship, right? So we've looked at. So Norwich is going back down.
Yeah, Norwich is going back.
Who's going to take their place?
Well, look, I've been looking at this very closely, as I mentioned in the last podcast, and there's one team right now that's really just bobbing its head up above the water, peeking in, just sort of peeking through the door or whatever.
And who could that be? Cause
that could be my team, Leeds United, bro.
Oh, the mighty Leeds. You don't say.
I don't say. Well, look, I was very upset on the day of the match against Swansea because it wasn't on TV, so I had to find other arrangements. I found a radio stream. I listened to the game.
And I just want to add to that. It was the second week in a row, or game week in a row, that Leeds was not picked for viewing.
Yeah, and I was filthy. I was absolutely filthy about it because the game, and this is the other thing, the game they actually showed was Stoke City versus Birmingham. I mean, who wants to watch that?
I wanted to watch it only because I'm doing some experiments with corners at the moment, and I have to say, Birmingham are absolute just. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. Just excrement. The way they were playing.
Well, you did tell me that they couldn't string 2 passes together, so we can leave it at that if you want.
The only positive out of that is that Birmingham gave Stoke 3 points to get them further from the relegation zone. and make them, I don't know, I guess, because Stoke really sort of pulled themselves out of trouble this season. They were absolutely terrible.
They had a terrible start to the season, but now they look pretty safe now. But yeah, going back to the top of the table, Swansea played a very good game against Leeds, and that the game literally could have gone either way. But
so just to get a bit of context there, Swansea, was obviously Leeds' opponent.
Yeah, and
Swansea being the team from Wales, or one of two teams from Wales.
And they had a lot to play for as well, because if they got a draw or they won that game, they would have gone into the top 6. So currently they're
which is the
playoff position,
the championship playoff spots.
But now they lost that game with a last-minute goal from Pablo Hernandez. Oh, what a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing to hear on the radio. It's just absolutely amazing. Yeah, so Leeds now go 3 points clear at the top of the table. Swansea are rooted in 7th. And West Brom are 3 points clear of Brentford, who are in ridiculous form at the moment. So it's really... West Brom are just holding on to second place at the moment, and...
Yeah, by the skin of their teeth.
By the skin of their teeth, and they are playing Fulham tomorrow morning. So
yeah, that's coming up. By the time this comes out, that game will be finished. So, I'm not going to say I hope that West Brom go down, but
to give context to this, Fulham are in 4th place and they're 5 points behind West Brom. Brentford are in 3rd and they're 3 points behind West Brom. So it's very close to this automatic promotion.
And everyone's sort of chomping at West Brom. And while that's all happening, Leeds is playing Barnsley, who are the bottom team.
They are at the foot of the table. Look, obviously, but Barnsley are not out of the relegation sorts, so they can still...
Well, the thing is, the relegation zone is very tight. Charlton is the first off the block, so they're 46 points and they're just above the relegation zone. But in the relegation zone, Barnsley is on 43, so they're 3 points from safety. Luton a point above them on 44. Hull a point above them on 45. Above Charlton, there are 2 teams on 47, Middlesbrough and Huddersfield. Then there's a bit of a jump, a couple points to the worst team in the league, Birmingham, and
they're not even
Stoke now. And I think it really stops there. So those teams. Another thing though, Wigan, they are on 54 points. So they look pretty safe. However, they're under threat of because they're going to go into administration. I think they are going into administration.
Oh, I read they were in administration, but yeah, either way, they are going to go into administration, and due to some bodgy sort of deal.
Which means that I think they'll be docked 12 points, which means they're effectively on 42 points.
Well, that's relegation.
Which is below Barnsley, who they just played, by the way, and they drew against. And I just want to point out Barnsley. Last 5 games, they've only lost 1. It was Stoke that they lost to, but
this is what happens.
Drawn 3 of them.
This is what happens when you've got a lot to play for and you leave it late. And this is what I was trying to. This is what I'm saying. Like this for Leeds United, this looks like a formality, but it really isn't. Barnsley can take points off Leeds here. That's why that result that Leeds got against Swansea was absolutely huge. So we'll see what happens, but
yeah, they've just been really stubborn, really low-scoring games, except for that Stoke game, which surely had no red cards. They just got smashed in the first half, 3-0. But they don't have that much firepower. But in the championship, neither does Luton. And they drew against Leeds. So,
but what the good thing about Leeds though is that they do have the best defence in the league. So
yes.
they'll take some beating, Leeds, if they're going to lose or drop points here. So,
well, I wouldn't expect them to lose, but definitely they need to get over that hurdle of scoring that goal first, and then maintaining that lead enough to not give away a cheap goal. But yeah, it's really looking good for Leeds. There's 3 games left. They can guarantee promotion with 4 points at this stage.
Yeah.
Assuming Brentford win all their games, which is very possible.
Oh no, Brentford will win all their games. Their form is ridiculous. I can't see them dropping points. to be honest.
The other side, though, Cos, is that West Brom could drop more than 2 games. If West Brom drop more than 2 games, then that'll also obviously give... But you won't really find that out until later. West Brom are playing, like we said just now, Fulham. That's the first off the block, 2 a.m, so in about 5 hours or so. Then they play Huddersfield, and they play QPR at the end. So 2 teams sort of in the safety, not really playing for anything area. So West Brom will have a decent chance of pulling through in those teams. But there's no point speculating. It's going to be another interesting week. We'll know a lot more before next week, and we might even have teams that have officially been promoted, although I doubt it, just because of the situation with Brentford and West Brom and Fulham, and especially with West Brom playing Fulham. But we'll at least know if Fulham lose this game, then that'll put them out of the automatic playoff spots, basically, I think, just about. Because they'll put them 8 points behind West Brom, and that would actually end their chase. If they win, though, they'll be within 2 points of West Brom, and West Brom won't actually be second, probably, because Brentford will take over because their goal difference is sublime. 43 goals, as opposed to West Brom's 33. So they're pretty far ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, look, it's so close. I can smell it. I can smell the Premier League. It's just amazing. It's been 16. It's been 16 long years for Leeds United. So it'll be good to come back.
Liverpool had to wait 30 years for the title, but to wait 16 years just to play in the Premier League, I don't know what's worse, to be honest.
Well, this is actually... I mean, looking at Leeds' history, I was looking at it earlier in the week. These last 16 years have literally been Leeds' worst period in their history. They had never gone down to League One before they did during this period. And this is the longest time they've ever been out of the Premier League. So,
or out of the First Division. So,
well, back in the First Division, though, yeah. So this is literally their worst period in their history. But it looks like that the financial turmoil that they were placed in by those silly owners are now behind them. And if they get back into the Premier League,
ambitious owners, just
ambitious
sort of
but silly, ambitious but silly,
not money. Yeah.
So yeah, look, it'll be great to have them back in. And look, if they go straight back down, they go straight back. I'm just going to enjoy seeing Leeds back in the Premier League.
Yeah, well, Norwich had a good run. Finishing top last season and now going straight back down.
So no, look, it could happen. I'm not going to say that it's not going to happen.
Yeah, of course. But I feel like Leeds actually have, especially now, with just if they can survive one season, and they've got an actual good coach as well. That's the other thing.
Yeah, Marcelo Bielsa. He's been a revelation because he came in the 2018-2019 season, which they finished third and lost in the playoffs. But before that, they were just mid-table. They were just a mid-table team in the championship, not really going anywhere.
Well, they were always sort of near getting into the playoffs, but not quite. And then they sort of drop off near the end and finish 10th or 11th or something like that.
That's right. But then, yeah, in 2018-19, they finished third, and now it looks like they're going to go on and win the championship. And the other thing, too, is the players themselves have pretty much come out and said that they're not just wanting promotion; they want to win the championship and get that trophy. So, good signs for Leeds, I must say.
And the other thing I've heard is that everyone who comments on Bielsa, who's the manager, say that he doesn't deserve to be in the championship. He needs to be in the Premier League. So. I think that's a good sign as well. Yeah,
well, the way he's gotten Leeds playing, it's Premier League quality football. So it'll be great to see him in. I'll just end with that. It'll be great to see him go back up.
Yeah, crowds or no crowds, it's going to be good to see Leeds back in the Premier League. And a bit of trivia: Leeds was the last team to win before the Premier League became the Premier League. So,
that's true, wasn't it?
And I think they actually won 2 of the last 3 First Division titles.
So, there you go.
Unlucky, because then they would have got a lot more money if they won.
It's all about the timing. I mean, Newcastle fans will know all about that. It's all about the timing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be an interesting rush to the finish line, both in the Premier League, the Championship, and I guess the Champions League as well. We're not going to bother with La Liga because it's just an.
I will say Real Madrid. I mean, they're going to win. They're going to win.
Well, Real Madrid are 4 points clear now, and there's 2 games left. So
they've got it. They've got it. That's all we can say there.
It's going to be the end. But yeah, I think that's unless Cos, you've got something else that you want to
that's a wrap. That is a wrap for me. I'm quite happy with what we've spoken about today, and I'm just looking to go to bed and get up and try.
And then wake up in the morning and see that West Brom's drawn with Fulham.
Well, I'm actually planning to watch the game, so we'll see. This is how invested I am in Leeds United right now. I'm watching a rival.
Also, the fact that the game will actually be on Cairo Sports, which is always
nice.
On.
It is on. They chose the correct game this time. Maybe they listened to my email. I don't know,
but yeah, which I got the reply for. So.
Yeah, I was waiting to see the reply. But anyway.
The reply to my name is just. I just thought, oh well, there's my reputation tarnished. But
the account's under your name, Mike. You know.
Yeah, the account's under my name, but we both pay for it. So, all right, that will be a wrap in that case. I'm not going to talk about videos because the more I talk about it, then the longer it takes to come out. But check out our YouTube channel if you haven't done that already, and check out our podcast if you're listening to this on the YouTube channel, which is currently on Podbean and Spotify. Closme Commentary, if you look at that, there's no other Closme commentaries out there, and if there were, I'd be very disappointed. Thanks, Cos, for coming on for this. May I mention now that this is a remote recording in case you haven't realised that our audio is different.
Yeah, look, we are under lockdown again. The coronavirus has decided to rear its ugly head again, so we've had to stay home.
It could be going up a stage soon, but let's just enjoy what we have right now, and look forward to this frantic finish that will lead into a new season that starts, I think, 3 weeks later or something like that, something stupid. So,
I can't wait. I mean, 4 points, that's all we need. 4 more points.
4 points for Leeds and 9 points for Liverpool. Let's have it. Thank you all for listening, and we'll speak to you next time.
Talk to you then.